You type in your bank's web address, exactly as you always do. The page loads with the correct logos and layout, but when you hit enter, your browser sends those packets of login data directly to an attacker's server instead of the bank. This redirection happens without a single misspelling or a suspicious link. The network itself misleads the browser, replacing the legitimate destination with an IP address controlled by a third party. We are taught that a correct URL in the address bar means we are safe. In reality, that trust is one of the most significant vulnerabilities in modern computing. This works by subverting the domain name system, or DNS, the Internet's translation layer, turning human-readable names into the numerical IP addresses that servers use. Designed when networks were assumed honest, these requests travel in readable, clear text, exposed to anyone watching. This is where DNS hijacking occurs. An attacker intercepts that clear text request and rewrites the response, pointing your browser toward a malicious server. By controlling the translation layer, an attacker can determine exactly which servers your device connects to, effectively choosing which version of the internet you see. To see how this happens at scale, we have to follow the path of a query, beginning the moment it leaves your device. Local hijacking starts with an infection. Trojan malware on a computer can silently modify internal network settings, forcing the device to consult a rogue DNS server before the request even hits the local network. If the device is clean, the query moves to the router. Because many users never change their default hardware passwords, attackers can easily breach the firmware and swap the default DNS for a malicious red path. This creates a ripple effect. Once the router is compromised, every single device on that Wi-Fi, from your phone to your smart TV, is redirected through the attacker's server. Security often fails from the inside, as our own hardware is used to bypass the protections we have on our computers. As the query leaves the home and enters the public internet, it becomes vulnerable to man-in-the-middle attacks, where interceptors wait for unencrypted DNS traffic. This exact mechanism is used by some service providers to show ads on error pages, and by governments to enforce national censorship by blocking specific domains at the network level. But the query's journey ends at the authoritative name servers, the master records for the world's most visited sites. This is the goal of campaigns like SeaTurtle. By hacking the domain registrars directly, attackers can poison the DNS cache at the highest level, sweeping thousands of users toward a cloned site simultaneously. These top-level hacks break corporate VPNs and render local security software useless, because as far as the computer can tell, it is following the internet's official instructions. When the infrastructure itself is compromised, traditional endpoint protection becomes blind to the redirection. You can spot a hijack by looking for technical friction. This includes slow page loads, strange ads injected into legitimate sites, or warnings about invalid security certificates. You can verify your connection by pinging a domain to see if it resolves to a suspicious IP, or using tracking tools to confirm that your DNS provider is who they claim to be. The first line of defense is simple maintenance. Change your router's default credentials, enable two-factor authentication on your domain accounts, and use a VPN to shield your queries from local interceptors. Active vigilance and hardware hygiene are the only ways to verify that your network is behaving as intended. Systemic changes are arriving. Protocols like DNS over HTTPS wrap queries in encryption, shielding metadata from anyone watching the connection. This works alongside DNSEC, which validates the digital signature of the record itself, ensuring the IP address you receive is the one actually registered. As the internet moves toward a more secure address book, the responsibility still falls on the user to ensure their gateway to the web isn't leading